What's up, YouTube? It is your boy JB, and I'm here. I told you guys you would see me sooner rather than later. So, this is for a new series on Bravo. It's the Real Housewives of Salt Lake City, which just premiered about an hour or so ago, but I wasn't at home when it came on. So, we're gonna, do Salt Lake City, see how I like it. So far, I actually really enjoyed the episode. But you guys, without further ado, let's go ahead and just jump into this episode review. And it's just really more so an introduction of the ladies. And let's go ahead and just talk about it, shall we? I gotta buy a battery for this damn thing. All right, you guys, so I don't know if I'm gonna go in any particular order. Now, the one thing that I do want to say, the thing that annoys me when it comes to Housewives is when they talk about this whole elite circle and shit. It's like, if it's such an elite circle, then why are you on this show? Like, make that shit make sense to me. So, the first person that I actually want to talk about is Heather. So Heather is a bit of a thick girl. I'm like, okay, I like it. And I will say one thing with this episode so far. The episode was good, but the thing that got on my nerves was them talking about the fucking Mormon church. Now, I'm glad that with these women, unlike with Andrea from Life After Lockup, she wants to paint the Mormon church up like it's this, creme de la creme. But up until the 70s, sometime in the 70s, the Mormon church didn't accept people who looked like me. They didn't accept us. So that's very, what do we call that? Racist as fuck. So Heather is what I'm talking about, right? Heather. So she has a beauty, she has a, what is it called? She has a beauty bar and laser. So, she does like, I guess Botox and all that kind of stuff. She has 3 daughters. We also find out that, she was previously married and her husband's family was worth billions, I think she said. But they got a divorce, and the Mormon church they frown upon divorce, and some of the things that she loves, the Mormon church is not for it. She loves black men. Her words. She loves black men, she loves homosexuals, she loves rap music, and she loves she loves rap music. She says she smokes. I don't know what she smokes. I'm pretty sure it's probably, the medicinal shit. But yeah, I mean, so I guess when it comes to Heather, I fucks with Heather. I really do. Like, I fucks with Heather. But let's move on, shall we? Nope. We're not. Okay, this thing is really just gonna drive me crazy. I know it's doing it on purpose. All right, you guys, so what I'm doing right now is I'm going in the order of the ladies that I actually like the most, and then we'll just talk about the rest later. So next, let us discuss Whitney. Whitney is an interesting one. When I saw Whitney, I cracked up, it's a wedding day. But then we found out that it's actually her vow renewal ceremony. She's been married to her husband for 10 years. And she is Heather's cousin. So then we get a little bit of backstory about Miss Whitney, and I was looking at her husband. I'm like, that man is older than you. She told us how old he was. He's 18 years her senior. I'm like, okay, makes sense. So I think she said when they got married the first time, it was after she was 5 months pregnant or something like she had a baby. So then she told us that they got married in her prom dress. And I was looking at the prom dress, and I was looking at this dress that she was wearing. And I'm like, well, the prom dress looked better than this dress. And this dress that you got on it says $6,000. I'm like, you should have saved that money and put that prom dress back on, because the prom dress looked better than this shit she got on right here. So then we go a little bit deeper into Miss Whitney, and we find out that Whitney and her husband have been excommunicated from the Mormon church, because here we go. Whitney and her husband, they worked together. They had a little secret love affair with each other. They were cheating on each other. They were cheating with each other. And they were both married at the time that they were cheating. I was like, oh, I'm like, how can it get any better than this? Like, damn, hilarious. You guys, I promise you, with this episode, I laughed so much because the shit was just funny, and it was the shit that I was laughing at was from the people that I liked the most. Like I said, first was Heather, now it's Whitney, and then the next one. Oh shit, this show is good. I wasn't expecting it, but this show is actually good. But let's move on. Yeah, I gotta go buy a battery for this thing tomorrow. I hate it. All right, you guys. Next up, Mary. Mary. So we see Mary. We first introduced to Mary. She's meeting Whitney, and man, the first thing that I noticed about Mary was the tacky fashions. First and foremost, her fashions are tacky. Then I noticed her wig. I'm like, girl, that wig is busted. Then the shit really hit the fan, which I had already saw this. I was ready for the show to come on so she can explain it to us. So if you guys had not watched some of the stuff, prior to the show airing, because Bravo had put a lot of stuff on their YouTube channel, and one of the things that I heard was actually it was in her description that she married her step grandfather. I was like, ugh. How do you marry your step-grandfather? Of all the men in the world, you literally married your step-grandfather. Mary talking about people to get over it. I'm like, Mary, that is nasty. And I did see that she had she was on live with Teresa Giudice from New Jersey. And when she said it out loud, she was talking to her, talking to Teresa. She said, well, listening to it does sound bad. Yes. I mean, I get it. Y'all been married for 21 years, but hey, now there is one thing that I'm noticing with Salt Lake City. This is the first time that, it's not the first time. Actually, I think it is, because I know in previous, Housewives like Atlanta, and I know with Atlanta, I know with Beverly Hills, and I know with I think New Jersey. I know Married to Medicine does it, where the women film their interviews sometimes with their husband. Now I know for a fact Married to Medicine does it. Married to Medicine has been doing it for a long time. But this is the first Housewives series where the men have actually been included in their confessionals, as we call them, or their post-interview looks. Interesting. But Mary's husband, I'm just still confused. She said it was in her grandmother's will. And her husband said that his deceased wife said that if something happens to her, one of his girls will take care of her. I'm like, ugh. How did y'all reason with that? Because I'm still stuck on it. It's nasty. Because Mary, think about it, which I don't want to think about it, but think about it. Your grandmother had sex with that man. So never. Oh God, that is just nasty. Ugh. Okay, so we're gonna move on from that. So Mary is talking now. Mary is Pentecostal. So she's not a Mormon. Actually, none of these women are Mormon. Actually, yes, one of them is Mormon. I'll talk about her in a minute. So yeah, she's Pentecostal, and she's the first. She said she's the first lady, but then I'm like, she started talking. She said she doesn't want to be called a pastor because that sounds like an old lady. I'm like, oh, so you lead the congregation, which I thought she did from the looking at the trail. I'm like, does she lead the congregation? But then she said she's the first lady. Then Whitney got a text message from Jen, which I'll talk about Jen in just a few minutes. She got a text message from Jen. Jen is texting her about this party that she's giving Meredith, which I'll talk about Meredith as well in a few minutes. And Mary said that Jen is not going to invite her to the party. And she was like, why wouldn't she? She said, because, we went out somewhere to dinner. And Jen came in and she smelled like hospital. I'm like, oh my God, this is because the woman smelled like a hospital, which I know a hospital does have a a rather interesting smell. It's sterile, but goddamn, it was hilarious. So Mary's gonna be my favorite because Mary is blunt, like blunt. But let's move on, you guys. All right, you guys. Next, let's discuss Lisa Barlow. Lisa, she says she was Jewish by birth, but she chose to become. So of these women, I don't know how many of them are actually from Salt Lake City. It's not a lot of them. But Lisa, she is not. I think New York, if I'm not mistaken. I think New York, and she moved there. And the thing that threw me off with Lisa when I first saw her was the fact that her husband was getting ready to take that dog out for a walk, and she's talking about the dog needs a sweater on so it doesn't freeze. And I'm just thinking to myself, like, Lisa, you do know that had the dog has fur. Why do you think humans wear faux fur or real fur? Dogs have it. And that dog look like, bitch, get me out this motherfucking. I'm not calling her Mary. I'm not calling Lisa bitch, you guys. So I'm be like, why'd you call her bitch? I'm saying that that's probably what the dog's thinking. Like, damn, because that dog did look like, get me out this motherfucking sweater because I don't want this shit on. So we found out a little bit about Lisa. So this, like I said, this episode was an introduction to the ladies. She has her husband. Didn't get his name, and two sons. She and her husband, they both have a tequila brand. She named out the tequila. I never heard of them before. And she has this luxury marketing brand. And that is really gonna, I mean, Lisa, I don't think I'm gonna like her. And I'm gonna tell you, so the people that I don't think that I'm gonna like is because I feel like they're putting on I feel like they're putting on a little bit of airs. Like I just feel like they're putting on more than what they actually are. And that's typical for, most new season housewives. I feel like they come in knowing what the brand is and they want to make a name for themselves. I feel sometimes because, and I'm gonna give a prime example of a housewife that in the beginning I wasn't a fan of, but now I love her. Karen Huger from Real Housewives of Potomac. I was not a fan of Karen Huger in the first two seasons because I felt like Karen was putting on for the show. I felt that. And then after that whole tax issue with Ray, I think that's when we start to see the real Karen Huger. And I mean, I get it. They come on these shows. They saw other housewives, like with Atlanta. Nene was once the star of Atlanta. Beverly Hills. Vanderpump was the star of Beverly Hills. New York, that was Bethany's show. New Jersey, Teresa, although she's a ratchet mess. What other franchise do we have? Potomac. Even with Potomac, Karen is the star of Potomac, but like I said, that tax issue, it knocked Karen down and she had to be humble. And with Dallas's breakout star was Leanne Locken, but Leanne, I always got fakeness from Leanne. And I'll be honest with you guys, I got fake vibes from Leanne. Orange County, I mean, let Vicky tell that's her baby. But yeah, so let's move on. All right, you guys, next, let's talk about Meredith. I don't think I'm gonna like Meredith either. I think so. Again, with the women that I don't think I'm gonna be a big fan of, I think they're too pretentious for me, and that's just me keeping it real. So Meredith, her and her husband are from Chicago. They moved to Salt Lake City about 7 years ago for his job, but now here's the weird part, because he said he had to go to Chicago. So I'm like, why don't y'all move from Chicago to Salt Lake City if he's still working in Chicago? There's some issues in y'all marriage, and I think that's gonna play out on this season. But yeah, they've been in Salt Lake City for 7 years part time. They have, I think, 3 kids. One of them lives with them. and he's doing her makeup and all that kind of stuff. Um, so then we saw a scene where Lisa had Meredith and no Meredith had Lisa and Jen over. The funny thing was when I was looking at Lisa and Meredith, I'm like, y'all look alike. Are y'all sisters? But they're not. I guess they're not related at all. So then when Jen comes there, now Jen is gonna be the messy one of the group, which I'm cool with the mess. So Jen comes over, and she's talking about the fact that she went out to lunch or dinner with Heather, and the fact that Heather said that she knew Lisa, but Lisa is saying that she doesn't remember her. I'm like, girl, here we go with the Mariah Carey reference. I don't know her. So they talk about that. She was talking about she was the fun girl, like the girls going wild type, lifting her top up. And so then we later see Meredith's son. Now this scene was hella awkward and weird to me. So it's her birthday. Her husband is not there, right? So somebody set up a floral arrangement that her son has, lit the candles for. I'm like, this is a romantic type vibe, and why are you doing this for your mama? I would never do nothing like that for my mama. That is just nasty to me. And then on the table there was a big set of roses that looked like a casket. I'm like, did somebody die? Yes, I mean, yeah, that was just interesting. Interesting as the hell. Okay, let's move on. All right, you guys, and then let's close the episode out with Ms. Jen Shah. Jen, I will say one thing about Jen, one positive thing. Her house is nice. And she has a beautiful family. I will say that as well. She has a beautiful family. She has two sons with her husband. I think one was named Omar, and I think the other one's name is Sharif Jr. because her husband's name is Sharif. He's a coach. She calls him Coach Shah. So she lets us know a little bit about herself. She's Hawaiian and Tongan, and she's got some Chinese in her. Now, when she said the fact that people in Salt Lake City think of her as black, I'm like, so they think that anybody who doesn't look like them is black? Okay, whatever. Then she's talking about she was raised Mormon, and then, I think 5 years into her marriage, she asked her husband to convert to Mormonism. And I'm so glad her husband said fuck no and fuck that, because again, what have I said? The Mormon church didn't accept someone that looked like my skin color into the 70s. So a big fuck you to the Mormon church. I know the Mormon church has got to be pissed watching that show. Ooh, they might be even petition to get it taken off the air. But I mean, hey, they speaking facts about the Mormon church. Now here's the thing about Jen. I don't care what kind of labels you wear. That's fine, but the shit that she had on when she went to Heather's, to get her armpits, which I've been seeing that a lot lately, where people get Botox in their armpits so that they don't sweat. That ain't got nothing to do with me, and that's one of the other reasons why I don't think I'm gonna like Jen. I think Jen is too superficial for me. I just can't hang out with somebody like that. It's cool to have nice things and buy designers and whatnot, but that doesn't attract me. That doesn't make me be like, oh, let me be your friend. That actually makes me be like, do I want to be friends with somebody that's all about labels, because I don't want to hear about it. I don't want to talk about it. And I'm not saying that's what she is. I'm just saying it's just the impression that I'm getting. And like I said a few minutes ago, she gives me a Leanne Locken vibe from Dallas Housewives. It feels like Jen wants to be the star of this show. And I don't feel like we might be seeing a real Jen. I don't know. Don't honestly really care, to be quite honest with you. But that's just how I feel. Now here's the other thing that threw me off with Jen. She has 3 assistants. What the hell does she do? Who's paying those assistants? Coach? I mean, hey, if Coach is paying for them, hey, I ain't judging. I'm just asking, what does she do? Does she have, and this is a serious question, does she have a business that she runs? Somebody clue me in about Jen. I don't know anything about her. And they actually didn't say anything about her. The funny thing is they've said everything about the other women. We know what Heather does. We know what Lisa does. We know what Lisa does. We know what Mary does. We don't know what Whitney does. But I don't care. I like Whitney. So you guys remember I was telling you that Jen is throwing a party for Meredith's birthday. You would think that this party is about Meredith, but nope, this party is literally about Jen. This is a Jen Shaw party because she kept saying a Jen Shaw party. I'm like, so you're disguising, you're saying that this party is for your friend, but this party is really for you, huh? Okay, Jen, cool. So then before the party starts, Heather and Jen had a conversation about her conversation that she had with Lisa and with Meredith. I gotta remember these women's names. We'll get there. But Heather got on her feelings about the fact that she said she don't know her and the fact that she was a fun time girl lifting her shirt up. Heather girl, it's easier just to say fuck her. Can't we just say fuck her? Like, just say fuck it. I don't give a fuck. So the party, it was alright. Now, Jen and Mary had the conversation about her saying that she smelled like hospital. So they called up one of her friends, and Mary didn't back down, but Mary killed me. Mary really killed me in her interview with the producers when she said, why is she 60 years old having her legs amputated? That means she had a terrible diet. Drink some water. I said, oh my God, Mary, they're on Watch What Happens Live. I need to finish this stuff so I can go watch them on Watch What Happens Live. But Jen walked out that room pissed off. Jen, honestly, I gotta be honest with you, I get it. Like, I get it, your aunt had her legs amputated. I'm not laughing about your aunt having her legs amputated. I'm laughing about the fact that Mary says you smell like hospital. That comment alone shouldn't have been that detrimental to you. Like, the fact that she said you smell like hospital, just be like, yeah, bitch, I came from the hospital. What else am I gonna smell like? A monkey's ass? Like, I don't get why she got so upset about that. That's funny to me that she's upset about the fact that the woman says she smelled like hospital. Girl, you came from the hospital, so shit, say fuck. Yes, I came from the hospital. My aunt had her legs amputated. What you want me to do? Go home and honestly, never mind. She could have went home and took a bath, but it is what it is. But you guys, that was the first episode of The Real Housewives of Salt Lake City. The season 1, episode 1, and the episode, I don't know if I said it in the beginning of the video, but the episode was titled Welcome to Salt Lake City, and they gave us a welcome, all right? But you guys, let me know what you guys thought about the first episode of The Real Housewives of Salt Lake City. Be sure to like this video, leave your comments, subscribe to the channel, hit that bell notification button so you guys know when I drop anything else, share this video, and into the next one, you guys. Stay safe out there, take care of yourselves, wash your hands, wear your mask, and socially distance. And until the next video, you guys, I will see you guys later. Bye, guys.